Right, continuing on with the wall lights this morning, what I'm doing is now going to powder coat each of these in black. Now, for the order that we're doing, we only need two in black, but I'm going to do 5 just because we've got the 5 ready to be anodised. Hang on a second, let me just see if I can get this working. Right, there we go. Right, so I'm moving on to doing the assembly of the wall lights. So what we do is we just place a little bit of Loctite on each of the threads and just run that straight into the body there. And that's an M10 bit of brass that we actually buy in, we don't machine. And then they just need to be cleaned up, especially with a nice pair of tights, you know. Right, I need to find two of these. Battery died. That's going well today. So let's get these. Sometimes we get a bit of paint, etc. in the thread end, so they just need a little hand tap through just to clean out the paint, and then they should thread on really nicely on the bases. We'll start with, I'll do this one over here. Now recently what we've done is we've opted for a very slightly smaller spring on the wall light hinges, which has just made it a little bit easier, but that's how that part of the base goes together. Next I need to tap these holes and then we can look at the head. Right, so there we've got the heads etc. together, ready to go. So the last thing I need to do is just tap these holes and then actually sort out the base. I think, so we machined some bases yesterday, these ones, but we need to drill the 2 holes in those and just hand finish them. And then these fittings will be done, nearly there. Fancied a little sit down the other end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to assemble all the screws etc. onto the wall lights, and then we just need to do those bases that I was saying about, and the way goes. Now yesterday until this morning, Max had these 2 fittings, just the heads, because we only ever do the heads because it's only necessary to actually have the heads on test. Had those in the water tank and had them on, so they've basically been underwater for 24 hours running on. We also actually took temperatures of the fittings and sorry, get my words. Yeah, so we took some temperatures, and the temperatures I believe were measured at about 91°C, which is about a 10-degree improvement on our old solid aluminium boards. And yeah, it's funny because we've gone to fiberglass, but we're basically using through pins, wires to connect to an aluminium board that's underneath, and that's actually giving better heat transfer than the solid aluminium board did. And it also means we've actually been having 100% reliability rate on builds, which is great. So yeah, we've been making an active effort now to actually make sure that we measure and record all the information that we're testing, and then it'll help us sort of like find anomalies if there are any, because recently we've had a few orders, mostly on the larger sort of stuff, that we've had some site failures, and as a result of that, and because, you know, to me customer service is literally the most prime thing, aside from obviously product quality and products etc., but in terms of how you deal with problems, that's the critical part. And so not only were we having to make replacement fittings and sort all of that stuff out, but we're also compensating the contractors and you know, doing bits and pieces to try and appease them, which so far has worked fine. But the problem is we don't want to be in that situation at all. We want to be building products that are perfect every time, so that there aren't any issues on site, and that they last for a long time, far exceeding the warranty before someone has to come back and ask us for some replacement LEDs or something like that. But yeah, it's one of those things. We're working our way around it, and I've spent a lot of time on quality, etc. recently. So as I say, anyway, next bit for these is going to be the Wago connectors. I don't know if you know this, but all of our fittings come supplied with 221 Wago connectors. We don't use any of that fake stuff. We actually use Wagos. I don't see the point in using the fake copycat connectors. I mean, yeah, okay, we could save some money. Obviously, Wagos are pretty pricey, but ultimately, again, you know, kind of speaking about quality and everything, we want to try and provide every part as being as high quality as possible. So what I finally do, so the last thing I do, and I won't bother filming this last bit, but the last thing I do is basically fit the bases, which say you're not really going to see much of, and then I just do a last flick test just to make sure that everything, in terms of like lighting it up, just to make sure that everything is still working, just in case something got knocked when it got taken apart or something like that. But yeah, that's the build on those.